Hey y'all, what's going on? Joe here with the Texas Rancher. Today we're going to be talking about introduction to night hunting for beginners. I've got a lot of gear here in front of me, and we're going to go over these things here in a minute. But first, I just wanted to talk a little bit about night hunting and why I'm making this video. So usually when I make a video, it's like tutorials and things like that. Usually it's because in my searches of trying to learn stuff on YouTube, it's because I couldn't find the information in a video format, and later I found it out on my own, and so I went back and made a video for people like me that couldn't find the information that they wanted on YouTube. And YouTube is a great platform for learning how to do stuff. I mean, just about anything you can think of you can learn on YouTube. And night hunting is no different. Like I said, you can see I've got a lot of gear here in front of me. There's a bunch of gear in this box, and I've learned it all on my own through trial and error. I've spent a lot of money learning the hard way. There are a lot of tutorial videos and gear videos like this on YouTube, but I hope mine will be a little bit different. This is really aimed towards beginners that know nothing about night hunting. And so I hope this video helps you. I'm gonna be doing this unedited because my editing software on my computer has not been too friendly with my iPhone files lately. I am recording this on my iPhone, and so I've been having trouble with that. So we're just going to do it unedited, raw footage, as it is. And so I may fumble through my words. I may make some mistakes. You're going to see me walk back to the camera and stop the recording. It just is what it is. But the iPhone is the best camera that I have for recording stuff like this. We're here in Texas. It's cloudy, overcast. The lighting isn't all that great either. So hopefully just bear with me. And I may walk up to the camera and show you one of these devices because I don't have a camera person and just have the one phone, and so I can't do a bunch of editing. So I may walk up to the camera and show you different things throughout the video. So I guess we'll go ahead and get into it. So when I first started having an interest in night hunting, it was because we have a lot of hogs here on the ranch and in the area. There's just an overabundance, big population of hogs. They tear up the land and all that kind of stuff. And so I don't really want to get too much into the animals themselves, but how I go about hunting them and how you can go about hunting them and the gear that you may want or need, And so, yeah, so when I first started night hunting, I had a daytime rifle. Actually, let me grab it out of the side-by-side. I forgot to put it here on the table. Bear with me. Okay, sorry. So that's the first thing that I would have edited out had I had, if I was able to edit this. There's the bullets. You can see it's clear. This is a 6.5 Creedmoor. I call it my daytime rifle. It's just got a typical daytime optic on it. It's made by Vortex. It's got a Burris mount on it. The sight height's a little bit high. I don't really like this setup too much, but that's beside the point. Anyway, when I first started night hunting, this was the first rifle that I had. I didn't have a rifle prior to buying this one. I had shotguns and stuff like everybody usually has. But I wanted to hunt at night. So the first hog that I killed, I was actually set up in a pop-up deer blind, which I learned later that I didn't need. I was hunting over a feeder with a green light, a solar-powered green light on it, so when an animal walked underneath that light, it would illuminate the area. And I was set up at 100 yards, and when the hog walked underneath that light, it illuminated him, and I pulled the trigger, and the hog didn't take a step. I shot him right through the ear, dead on arrival. That was my very first hog I shot at night with a daytime optic. This exact optic, as a matter of fact, this is a 4x12 Vortex. The only difference is I had Vortex rings on here instead of this Burris, which is really designed for an AR-15, but I don't even remember why I put that on here. But that was my first experience with a successful night hunt. I later learned that you don't have to hunt hogs out of a blind at all. My next step to night hunting after that was using a flashlight. I had a mount for this scope, and I put a green flashlight on it, and I would go out and I would try to find hogs, and I don't believe I ever actually killed a hog with the light. It was scaring them. People will say green light, some people will say red light. It didn't work for me. I don't know if it'll work for you, but to my knowledge, that's the cheapest way to go about night hunting, is either have a light under a feeder, which actually does work. They get used to the green light pretty quick, and you'll have hogs come up and they won't even be bothered by the light on the feeder. I guess that's the cheapest way, daytime optic, light on the feeder. The next would be a flashlight. It may or may not work for you. It didn't work for me. And then the next step after that is night vision, digital night vision. The next thing I did was I bought a $1,000. I spent about $1,000 on a night vision digital scope, and that worked pretty good. Its weakness is that it has to have an IR light to illuminate the scope, because it's digital. It's not a analog, which I have an analog night vision goggles in here. I'll show you, but so I never liked the bulkiness of the big digital night vision scope, and I didn't like having to have an additional light on the rifle. I used that for probably about a year, and then I sold it and got rid of it, and then I graduated to thermal. Thermal, in my opinion, is the way to go for night hunting. The coyote hunters out there, a lot of them are old school, and they still use bright white lights like on their vehicle or a rig, you know, up on their truck, and they will just illuminate the whole area, and they'll use an e-collar, and they'll call in the coyotes, and they'll shoot them under white light, which again, you just need a daytime optic to do that. I prefer thermal mainly because it's cool, and I like gadgets, and I like being able to see all the wildlife at nighttime. It's just really, really cool. I love that. So that's what we have here. We have some thermal optics, thermal binoculars, handheld thermal. All of these products are made by AGM. So I want to give some transparency here. AGM sends me products for me to use and test out and make content with. So that's what I have here in front of me. I did not buy, well, actually I bought this one, this handheld 384. I bought this one with my own money, but these 1280 binoculars and the 640 adder and the Rattler, they were sent to me by AGM. That's really the only brand in this video that you know, is specifically sent to me. This other stuff I bought with my own money. So there's your steps of, you know, of how I got into night hunting, and that may be how you want to get into it. Like I said, I spent a whole lot of money trying to learn what I needed and what I didn't need, and now I've got a whole bunch of crap that I really don't use for night hunting. At the end of the day, all you need is a rifle of some kind with a caliber that's capable of taking down a pig or a coyote. That could be anything from a .22 with perfect shot placement, like in the earlobe or you know, in the ear hole or something like that, or it could be a 5.56, or it could be, you know, a number of different calibers. But you need a rifle and some kind of way to see them at night, whether that be a lighted feeder, a flashlight, or some type of, you know, digital night vision or thermal. That's really all you need. But I recommend getting a tripod because you're going to be out in the field. You know, you may be walking on foot like I was at first, and you see an animal, and standing unsupported shooting at an animal at a distance is difficult to do. It can be done. I've done it before, but you really want to get a tripod. When I was looking into tripods and stuff like that, a lot of people did not really go into detail about how differently rifles mount on tripods. Like, I had no idea what a Bog Death Grip Infinite was, but I saw it in a video and the guy didn't mention anything about it. He didn't really go into detail about it. I didn't know what an Arca rail was. I didn't know what a Swiss Arca mount was. I was like, how does that guy have that rifle attached to that tripod? He didn't discuss it. I felt like that was pretty useful information. I had to do a whole bunch of Google searching and stuff to figure out what the hell a Arca Swiss mount was, or what a Death Grip was. I was like, why are they using tripods? Like, I literally didn't know anything about this kind of hunting. And so I recommend that. If these Bog tripods are kind of expensive, you know, they're about $400. You can spend up to $1,500 on a tripod if you want to. There's some out there that are really ridiculously expensive. These for $400, they do great. I have 3 of them actually. The first one I bought one, and then I bought a second one to hold the camera and one to hunt off of, and it's stripped out here. Luckily for me, I contacted Bog, and without any question, they sent me out a new one for free. And so that's why I have 3. That other one is still in the closet broken, but I've got 2 functional Bog Carbon Infinite tripods now. The other option is a shooting stick. So this here is this is under $100. It collapses really fast and it deploys really fast. You just pull this trigger and then you just spread the tripod out. You can even it up while you're doing it. You can get it to your height. You can deploy your rifle and you can be on target in a matter of seconds. It's really fast. It's lightweight. This is how it's about 3 feet, maybe a little bit longer, fully collapsed, which I wish that it had another section where it could collapse down much smaller so you could put it in a backpack or something so you wouldn't have to carry it, but it doesn't weigh much. These tripods, they're kind of heavy even though they're made out of carbon fiber, and they're bulky. Like, if you're walking, hunting out in the field and you got your rifle, with a sling, you got your rifle slung over your shoulder and you're carrying the tripod, or some guys will keep the rifle mounted to the tripod, usually with the Arca, and they'll put the whole thing over their shoulder and they'll walk around, and then when they see an animal with their scanner, then they will deploy the tripod and they can get on target. That's one way to do it. I don't really like doing that. I don't feel like it's safe. I don't like walking around with a rifle hanging over my back, especially if I've got friends with me. If it were to fall off the tripod, something could happen. You could have a round discharge. So I usually sling the rifle over my shoulder and carry the tripod. Another thing I don't like about this style of a tripod, or especially these in particular, is that they're really slow to deploy. You've got to telescope the legs out. You've got to even them out. You've got to get it to your height, and then once you put the rifle on, it's even taller, and so you may have to reach down and loosen a leg and lower it down a little farther. It takes several minutes, or at least it does for me, to set up one of these tripods and get the rifle on target. I find myself using this $60 or $80 shooting stick more than I do these tripods. If you're going to be set up over a feeder, or if you're going to drive to a location and just kind of camp out and look over a wide area, an open area, these tripods are great. You can go hands-free. You can just stand there and use your scanner and have the rifle set up, and you don't have to hold it. That's the best benefit about having a tripod, is being able to go hands-free. This setup right here, I have figured out a way to go hands-free with it, sort of. If you've got a sling on your rifle, it's really sturdy once it's set up, and you can hang the rifle with its sling aimed down at the ground on this tripod, and then you can be scanning around, and then when you see an animal, then you can pick up your rifle and deploy it onto the top of the shooting stick. So I do that a lot, actually. And like I said before, I've spent a lot of money learning the hard way when I could have just, kept the shooting stick instead of spending $800 on 2 tripods and, one broken one. But I got one for free, but I've spent $800 on tripods. So that was a lesson learned. I probably won't ever buy another tripod. These are fine. They're already bought and paid for, but yeah, you may not need a really fancy tripod. You may just want a shooting stick. So when I got my first thermal scope, it was a 256 resolution. That's a whole nother video talking about resolution and base magnification and stuff. We're not getting into that today, but I spent $1,000 on an older version AGM Rattler, which is this same body style here. And I thought it was great when I first got it. I thought it was awesome. I mean, it was way better than night vision in my opinion. To a distance. I didn't have to have an IR light on the end of my rifle. I didn't have that shadow and all that kind of stuff that the IR light can cause. It was lighter weight. I loved it. But eventually I wanted something in a better resolution, and so I upgraded. Eventually I bought a 640 from another company, but we're not going to talk about that today. But from 256, you've got 384. Now AGM offers a 320, which kind of fits in between. It's a really good optic. And from 320, you can go to 384, and you can go to 640. Now there's companies out there, including AGM, that have a 1080, 1280. You got full, what they call full HD, where before 640 was, called high resolution or high definition, but now they have 1080p and 1280p. These are 1280s. So they've got, much better resolution out there now. But my first thermal was a 256. It was decent out to 100 yards, but sometimes it was difficult to get a positive ID on an animal. But could you effectively night hunt with a 256 optic? Absolutely. Especially if you're setting up over a feeder and you're 75 yards and in, you shouldn't have any problem. I still recommend having a scanner, a handheld monocular, as they're called. This is AGM's 384 resolution. I'll walk up to the camera. This is AGM's 384 resolution handheld monocular. This is a Taipan. It's a pretty decent little optic. It's got, it can record video, it can take pictures. It's got your ocular focus here. You got your, it just has the one focus on there. Does different color palettes. It's a basic monocular. I can't remember how much I paid for this, but they're going to be somewhere in the $1,200 to $1,500 range, I think, for a lot of your 384 handheld monoculars. But it literally is a game changer when you're night hunting, because you don't have to stare down the scope of your rifle all night. Your shoulders get tired and all that. A scanner is just the way to go. How much money do you want to spend on a scanner? That's just up to you. I mean, like most hobbies, this gets really expensive really fast. And not everybody is going to be able to go out and spend $10,000 to night hunt. Some of you are just concerned about predator control around your farm. And that's really me. Controlling coyotes and hogs on the property here, although I do enjoy it as a hobby as well. But at the end of the day, it does serve a purpose. But some of you are just going to want to go out and hunt and kill animals because you enjoy it. I don't necessarily enjoy just killing to be killing, but and then other of you, you know, a lot of you other people are just going to want to do it for predator control around your property, and that's it. You may just want to be bare minimum, you minimalist hunting. And I have, after I've spent all this money and stuff, I kind of have gone back to being a minimalist. You know, just a shooting stick, rifle in a sling, and a handheld binocular. At the end of the day, that's really all you need. This here, so we're gonna change the focus now on some more of the gear. This particular box you see in front of me is made out of a plastic. It's made by MTN Case Guard. I'm not sponsored by them or nothing like that. I bought this with my own money. In fact, I have 3 of these. I have 2 identical to this, and I have one they call the Mule. It's a little bit different configuration, but it's the same dimensions and size as this. The cool thing about this box is that the tray on the top is for your rifle. It's padded. They come with a pad up here too. It won't stay stuck in the box. You'll have to use some hot glue or something. I took mine out. I just didn't really think I needed it. So this is a tactical rifle crate. I put all of my hunting gear, well, most of my hunting gear in here. A lot of it I have in a closet that I don't use anymore. For you coyote hunters out there, you're gonna need an e-collar, most likely. This is a cheap little $100 e-collar. I have killed a coyote with it. I have called in coyotes with it. It'll get you by, but there are a lot better ones out there. If you want to spend the money, you can spend $1,000 on an e-collar with a remote. This is $100, I think, at Walmart. It's made by it's made by Primos. Actually, Primos is the same company that makes this shooting stick. So there's that. An e-collar is pretty necessary for hunting coyotes. It's not 100% necessary, but it'll definitely help you. This one works, but it's bare bones. It's not real loud, but you may want to consider getting an e-collar if you're going to be hunting coyotes. For you that are just sitting on your porch and keeping a rifle by the door and you're gonna shoot a coyote when it comes near your house, you don't need anything like that. Some of this stuff is just clothing, you know, like gloves and stuff. We're not getting into any of that. A headlamp is pretty useful, especially when you down an animal and or say you're walking through the field and you know it's too dark, you can't see. You might want a headlamp. This has red and white light on it. I think the battery's dead in it. It actually does work, but there's the red. But a headlamp comes in handy too if you down an animal and you want to walk over to it and check it out, make sure that it's deceased or something. I mean, a headlamp can help you open gates. I mean, it's just useful to have a light and be able to use it hands-free. A handheld spotlight comes in handy for all types of different applications. Let's see. This is a drag. It's just homemade. It's kind of like a similar to a 550 cord with a D-ring on the end of it, and you can use that to drag out a coyote or something out of the field. Again, not something you have to have, but it's something I made. There are stores or companies that make them specifically for that reason, but I just made it myself. Rubber glove, latex gloves. You know, when you down an animal, you don't want to, you know, hogs are nasty. They got fleas and ticks all over them and stuff. They stink. You may want a pair of latex gloves. This sort of stuff you can fit in a backpack. I don't take this crate with me hunting. It stays in my room, and I just get stuff out of it as I need it. This here is pretty important, or at least it is for me. This is a chest rig. I don't like keeping a lot of stuff in my pockets, and I thought that I would want to wear a backpack when I started night hunting. I bought a little backpack, and I would carry a lot of this stuff in it. Now I've gotten to where I don't really like carrying that much stuff, but if I'm going to be walking very much instead of just staying by the vehicle, then I'll wear this chest rig. This holds 3 magazines, it holds a knife, it holds my flashlight. In this pouch in the front, I keep spare batteries for the thermals. I keep a mask for like mosquitoes. But here I have 2 18650 batteries. The Adder has an internal battery and an external 18650. If I'm going to be using the Rattler, I will take the spare battery for the Rattler. Also, this handheld monocular runs on an 18650, so it's good to have extra batteries. I can put my cell phone in here, or I can put it in the outer pocket as well, but it's just good to have this on my chest as I'm walking, rifle slung over my shoulder, tripod or whatever in my other hand, and it's good to have extra ammo if you need it. And you know, I always carry a knife and a flashlight or the headlamp. So I feel like this is pretty important. It's not something that you absolutely need, but it does come in handy. I have tried all types of different bags and backpacks. This is a bag that I recently bought that goes over my shoulder. Let's see, I think I can't remember how I slung it. Yeah, it slings over my left shoulder like this. I can carry my handgun in here and a couple, an extra magazine. Same thing as that. I mean, I could fit a little ammo in here, flashlight and a knife. I could fit pretty much most of the stuff that's in that chest rig as I can in this bag. I guess it's just a matter of comfort. I haven't actually used it yet. I just picked it up on Amazon. It was cheap. It was like 30 bucks. I had a patch. I stuck a patch on it. It's Velcro there. Here's another rabbit trail that I went down. I went through bags like this. These are designed for binoculars. These are mainly used by daytime hunters, duck hunters, turkey hunters, coyote hunters who, during the day they would carry their binoculars in here. Maybe a rangefinder. This is a rangefinder pocket. I used it some, but I just didn't really like it for some reason. I haven't really used it a lot. Also, I don't really like the way it sits on my chest. It sticks out pretty far when it's got stuff in it. So that's another option, for a bag. I've tried the old school fanny pack. I've put my wallet, keys, cell phone, a magazine, stuff like that in here. I didn't really like having the extra weight on my hip walking out in the field as much, and it got in my way when I sat down because I got a belly on me. I didn't really like it all that much, but it's another thing I've tried. Moving on to another important piece of kit that you may or may not want. A lot of guys are running around with helmets on and night vision goggles. That's a whole nother rabbit trail that you could go down. They are, can be really expensive. These are an older school set of goggles. These little helmet or head mount here, not very comfortable. Don't recommend it. These are PVS 7s. So these are a little outdated. They've got PVS 14s now and a single monocular that guys were running. They've got thermal, night vision. I mean, this stuff is expensive. This is not something I would consider for beginners at all. I'm just going over it to let you know what all I have here. But don't think for a second to get into night hunting that you've got to have night vision goggles or thermal headgear or anything like that. You don't need all that stuff. You just need a rifle with a capable caliber, an optic, and a spotter, a scanner. That's really all you need. And you can get by without the scanner, if you're on a budget. You may, you have your rifle set up and then you may eventually get a scanner. It's subjective. It depends on how much money you want to spend. You can spend nearly $20,000 on a thermal scope, or you can spend $1,000. AGM has a Rattler in 256 and a 19 millimeter objective lens for $800, or you can get the 35 millimeter objective lens for $1,000, or you can get the 320 here for about $1,500, or you can get the Adder V2 with a built-in laser rangefinder in a 640 resolution. This is a really nice scope, and this is going to be, you know, close to $5,000. They make this one in a full HD as well, but I mean, you can get something like this here if you want to really get into it and spend quite a bit of money. This is one of the newest 640s on the market. It's got a really great sensor in it. It's an excellent scope. It's really nice. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a high-end thermal optic. I love it, and at some point I'm going to have to send it back to AGM. I may eventually buy my own. It's a really nice optic. So I think I just about touched on everything. Oh, one more thing. So these are digital binoculars by AGM. These have night vision, they have daytime, and they have thermal. These are 1280p, full HD resolution binoculars. They are really nice. These take the place of a scanner, but these also have multiple uses. I use them sitting on the porch. During the day, sometimes I'll look out and check the cows. At nighttime with the thermal, I'll walk out the door and grab these. I can see a country mile literally with these. I can see most of the property here with these just from my house. I've used them on the range as a spotter scope to help me see my bullet impacts. I've used them for bird watching. Way down there about a mile that way, we have an eagle's nest in a tree, and I like to watch the eagles, especially in the evening when they're going to roost. They record video, they take pictures, a lot of the same features these have. But you can go with digital binoculars. They're a little heavier, you know, but they come with a neck lanyard, and you can just wear them around your neck and sling your rifle over, you know, just like you would anything else. But these are great. I love these things, and again, I'm not looking forward to having to send these back. So I think I covered everything. Intro to night hunting. I don't know if it's a rabbit trail you want to go down. It's expensive and it's pretty addicting, but I really enjoy it. Plus, I feel like there's a need for it. Do predator control, you know, around the property. You know, we don't want coyotes up here messing around the barn and the chickens, or, you know, the house or anything. You know, we got cats and stuff. So, do you need a side-by-side? Probably not. It's a nice luxury to have. You want to use it to drive around the property and go hunting at night and stuff. You know, they have multiple purposes as well. Just depends on if you want to spend the money on that stuff. Well, all right, I think that's going to conclude the video. I hope the lighting was okay. Like I said, I'm not editing any of this. I'm going to upload it just like it is to my YouTube channel and to my Facebook page. You can follow me at the Texas Rancher on Facebook. You can follow me on YouTube. It's Texas Rancher with some numbers behind it. I don't remember exactly what the name of the YouTube channel is, but I'll link to it. You can find me there. I'm on Instagram as well, the Texas Rancher, and on TikTok. But I think this video is just going to go on YouTube, and it's going to go on my Facebook page. I know it's been long-winded, but I think I've probably covered everything, and I hope this helped out some of you beginners out there that are just getting an interest into night hunting. And I hope that you figure out a loadout that works for you and fits in your budget. All right, y'all, I appreciate y'all watching. I'm Joe with the Texas Rancher, and we'll see y'all in the next video as I walk to the phone and turn off the camera. Peace.